I'm Bill I.
I'm Ashley Carter, and we're at Bierstadt Lager House with Craft Beer and Brewing, and here's your tip of the week.
When it comes to hop additions outside of our first word hopping, we're pretty conservative in the way we do it. We're not necessarily coming from a brewery with an IPA background, and we're very much trying to make a beer that you might get in a Munich beer garden. And so what you'll find with our Helles is it isn't a strikingly hoppy beer, and I don't think Helles should be. Pils is hoppier, but it isn't hoppy and aromatic in the way a well-made IPA is. The hops smell like boiled hops and not dry hops. I frequently taste and see very nice beers that have a striking hop presence in a Helles and a striking hop aroma in a Pils. And if you take a look back at the textbook of Beer and Brewing by Jean de Clercq, he's writing these in the 50s, when some of these styles are getting nailed down, he would say that a pronounced hop aroma in a Pils, in fact, is inappropriate. And certainly if it's inappropriate for Pils, it has no place in Helles whatsoever. Our hop additions, usually we give after the start of boil, 20 minutes before we add anything. There's some very interesting protein coagulation going on in the first 20 minutes of boil that is interrupted by too early of a hop addition. So we let all of our beers boil without benefit of hops for 20 minutes before our first addition. So we've got 70 minutes left in our boil. That's always our first hop addition. Bittering hop addition if you prefer, and we certainly get preponderance of our bittering from that. But again, with low alpha hops, sometimes we put quite a few in. When I say quite a few, that's embarrassing to you who are making other styles of beer, but certainly for a lager beer, it's quite a bit for us. Following that, occasionally we have 40-minute additions. In the case of our Helles we do, and we get a different hop character and the hop flavors with that middle addition in the Helles than we do at first wort with the Pilsner. And it goes back to some of our philosophies with the way we make beers and the way we design recipes, in that it's a technique-driven thing. I've mentioned this earlier, but already you should know we only have 1 or 2 malts in any of our beers, and we're trying to let the procedures we use downstream determine the differences in those beers. First wort hopping for Pils, double decocting for Helles, a later hop addition in the Helles, but not too late. We don't ever add hops for a lager within 20 minutes of the end of boil. Now certainly there are styles that would call for it. Were we ever to make an Italian Pils? I don't know if we will. If we ever do, I bet we'll have some later hop additions. We have made beers with other breweries, German breweries and German hop suppliers, where we've even had hops in our whirlpool. This is unusual for us. It is not a very typical or very German thing to do. But of course, these are things you can do if you're looking for a different result. Something brighter, something more American, something less European. But typically speaking, hops at 70 minutes, hops at 40 minutes maybe, occasionally hops with 20 minutes left, and then nothing. It turns out to our palates that adding hops after 20 minutes makes for a grassier characteristic that we don't find particularly pleasing. When we do taste Helles and Pils around the country, there are many great ones, but there are many that do have this overwhelmingly grassy character, because I think it's been ingrained in us as brewers learning how to do these things in the United States, that you've got 3 hop additions. You've got a beginning, middle, and end. And the closer you get it to the end, the more of the characteristic of the hop stays in the beer. All of these things are true. It just turns out that some of the characteristics that stay in the beer are inappropriate for a lager beer. We're not looking for that grassy, freshly mown lawn character that I think you can get in Helles that shows it off more than the others with a late hop addition. Helles is a malt showcase. Let the malt shine, get the bitterness in there to balance it, but let's quit making a bunch of overly hoppy Helles because you like hoppy beers, because hoppy beers are delicious in the right spot.
For more on our approach to lager brewing, click the link below.